Working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away. Drag back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end, 'cause the rich men, the rich men. I wish politicians would look out for miners, and not just miners on an island somewhere. Lord, we got folks in the street, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. Well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground, 'cause all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down. Lord, it's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is living in the new world with an whole soul. These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end, 'cause the rich men, north of rich men.
made for elevation. I'm a soldier, won't surrender. Faith is like a fire that never burns to embers. The voice of the unheard. Love is the answer.
I gotta speak it, believe it, that's how I feel inside.
I can't sit here quiet.
You can take my heart, you can take my breath when you're crying from the cold dead chest.
This is how we rise. Oh, heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise. Oh, heart is beating faster, feels like thunder, magic static. Call me a fanatic. It's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise. Oh, it's our resistance. You can't resist us. Can you hear me? Are you listening? Sleeping in the shadows could be making history. Through the fire, on the water, used to be a slave, but now you are a conqueror.
They can take my heart, they can take my breath when they're crying from the cold dead chest.
This is how we rise. Oh, heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise. Oh, heart is beating faster, feels like thunder, magic static. Call me a fanatic. It's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise. Oh, it's our resistance. You can't resist us. We're rising up. Rising up. We're rising up. Rising up. We're rising up. This is how we rise. Oh, it's our resistance. You can't resist us. This is how we rise. Oh, heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise. Oh, heart is beating faster, feels like thunder, magic static. Call me a fanatic. It's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise. Oh, it's our resistance. You can't resist us.
And welcome, everyone. There it is. Well, I almost forgot how to use this system. It's been so long. So welcome, everyone, to an edition of Straight Talk with Joe Vollano. It's a special edition. Let's not all get too used to it. We're here for specific purposes tonight, and we're here to talk about certain things that are going on in the city. Obviously, election season is finally coming upon us. It's in full swing. And I am getting bombarded with what are my thoughts on certain things. So I want to just make sure we have one place I can get it all out in the open, where I stand on everything, how I see these things playing out over the next couple months. We're going to talk about, obviously, the bus strike coming up tomorrow, which is, that's a shit show that's just waiting that's going to be in full effect come tomorrow. And the fact that the Board of Ed and the city of Maryland has allowed it to get this far without a plan in place is embarrassing. It's embarrassing. But I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. We'll tackle that when we get to it. Obviously, for those of you who are new to the show or have never actually watched the show, I am your host, Joe Vollano. I am so happy to be here. It has been a long time, but it is nice to be here with you guys. And hopefully we're going to have some good conversation. But remember, this show only works best when everybody is involved. So if you want to call in, 203-805-2520. Or, of course, you can always email us, straighttalkjv@gmail.com. And, of course, the chat is always open. Alan, hello, welcome. Greetings and salutations. It's been a while. So I see some people starting to funnel on in. We got a lot to talk about. And we're going to start. Do we want to start with elections or do we want to start with the bus strike? I guess the bus strike would probably be a little bit more important. At this moment in time, at least. So let's talk about the bus strike first. And I have seen a flurry of different posts from the union side, from the business side. And I happen to have experience on both sides of it, and watching what's going on. And it's very interesting to me because let's just talk about how this is all playing out. Let me get rid of this. How this is all playing out. And I sit there and I told everyone, I was like, listen, the general public should not be getting involved in this for multiple reasons. One, whatever they're telling you on social media is not the full story. We as the public are never going to have the full story on what each side wants. You're going to have two different narratives. We hire, by election process, representatives to watch over this nonsense. Now, this whole contract is not new to anybody. They have known about these negotiations since May. And nothing has, no contingency plans, nothing have been made. Oh, technical difficulties? No, I don't have any technical difficulties. Let's see. I am up and running. So if you could hear me, obviously. I know people are messaging me, asking me if we're having difficulties with our signal. We are not. I see it here on Facebook now, and I will double check it. I know it's been a while. It hasn't been that long. And on YouTube, we're up and going. So I would say switch over to either YouTube or to my Facebook page. You could get the thing from there. But no, we are up and running, and I am watching it now. So I'm watching it on three different areas. So this has not been anything that is a surprise. That should be a surprise to the Board of Ed of the city. They knew their contract, and again, the fact that the contract ends at the beginning of the school year, I think is suspicious enough. It should have ended in the summer. But of course, the union's not stupid. They want it to be at the beginning of the school year because it gives them, they feel it gives them more leverage. Because right now, the only ones that are suffering here are the children. The children are going to be the only ones that suffer here. Because after the whole COVID nonsense, the last thing we need is for these kids to be out of school. That's the last thing we need, is for these kids not to be in the classroom. And so 21 hours before the strike happens, Mark Benigni, the superintendent of schools, sends out this via Parent Square. Now, again, this is the first time anybody's hearing anything about what's going on in regards to the bus strike and the school's response to it. And here's the email, that the Parent Square message that he sent out. The Meriden Public Schools have been notified that the Teamsters representing the school bus drivers for the Meriden Public Schools will strike tomorrow, September 1st, with the expiration of their collective bargaining agreement. Nonetheless, we will be holding school tomorrow, Friday, September 1, whether there is a strike or not. We recognize the strike by the Teamsters will impose significant challenges on the entire Meriden school community, and we will work with our families to deal with the expected disruption to the transportation as follows. First of all, just that first paragraph alone, again, You've known about it. Why were there no plans already put into place? Why wasn't anybody getting out in front? Listen, all these people in City Hall love being in front of the camera. There is no reason why a plan couldn't have been put in place for parents tomorrow, or at least giving them a heads up. A lot of families aren't on social media. They're too busy working 2 and 3 jobs to make ends meet. So let's just remember that. It goes on. First, we note that any strike will not likely affect the transportation we provide for children who attend specialized special education programs on Friday, September 1st, because drivers of those vehicles are not covered by the union contract that is expiring. Families will be notified by staff members if those and confirm that normal transportation services will be provided tomorrow. Now, I have a son who is in the special education program. I got a message from his teacher today. No school bus tomorrow. No school bus. So apparently, even though those that do not have contracts apparently are not working either, because special education is being affected. And that is just, again, from personal experience. Let me see. People are saying they're having a hard time using the chat, and I don't know why. So we're going to reset it. I do see your comments on the different pages, though, just to give you guys a heads up. I do see it. So, and hello to you too, Isabel. So, yeah, so if you do have special needs children in the school system, yeah, you can be affected, because I know, like I said, personally we are, because the teacher reached out to us and let us know that bus 14 or van 14 was not going to be in service tomorrow. So we will take Tucker to school ourselves. Second, it goes on. Second, as to students receiving regular transportation, we encourage families that are able to do so drive their children to school on Friday. The ability of New Britain Transportation to fulfill its obligation to provide transportation during a strike by drivers is in serious doubt. Okay, so let's take that paragraph there. We have, with the city of Marion, we have a contract with New Britain Transportation. What is the city doing to make sure that we do have transportation in the future? Again, and how long is this supposed to go on? How often, how is this supposed to go on? It's just very strange to me that is where they are going with this. Is that, we're just not going to be able to do it, so therefore, it is what it is. That basically seems to be where most people in city management are basically at. But I'll be damned if I know why. Third, we will have staff available to open all of our schools an hour early and keep them open an hour late so parents and caregivers can drop their children off before the normal and pick their child up after normal business hours. Okay, so that's a good thing. So obviously all the schools are going to be opened an hour early. And now you're going to have them open an hour late. I guess that's good. I mean, I guess it's better than nothing. Fourth, we understand that it may not be possible for some families to transport their children to school. The Meriden Police Department will have extra patrols out tomorrow for students who are able to walk to school safely. However, the safety of our students is the utmost importance, and please do not ask your children to walk to school or seek alternative transportation to school unless it can be done safely. Student absences on Friday will be excused and there will be opportunities to make up the work. Okay. Let's talk about just that one part there. One, we're going to be spending an awful lot of money on police overtime. Because if you're having extra patrols out there, so let's see, we're paying for a school bus service that we're not using, and now we have to turn around and spend even more tax dollars to make sure that our kids can get to school safely by having extra police officers on so they could, again, and I don't know how this is going to work, so that they could follow bus routes. I don't even know how that works. You're going to have police officers on every corner? How's that even going to work? So that's going to be interesting. I'd like to know more about that. What the police officers' extra patrols are. And of course, you know what? And this is really the Board of Ed and City Hall in a nutshell. Fuck it. Just don't come. You're excused. It feels like we're COVID time. It's like, no, you're going to stay home. Don't worry about it. Because let's be honest. And I've had some conversations with individuals today about this exact thing. How are these kids going to make up work? And what happens if this strike goes on a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? What? Listen, it took them, 6 months to come up with just this plan here. How long is it going to take them to come with a solution for long term? Because if you listen to the union, they're saying they're digging in. And listen, that's their right to do so. Me, personally, I think this is going to hurt both the company and the union. Again, I had conversations with individuals today trying to find some kind of way that this could all be brought to a halt, at least for a 30-day cool down period. Now, listen, I've been on both sides. I've been a union guy. I've been a corporate guy. I understand both sides of it. I really do. But these people need to realize that they are not some kind of like manufacturing company or a telecommunications company where these are, things that we could go without for a period of time and be okay. You're talking about our children here. You are now interfering with our children's future and our children's education. If you don't think that is going to have severe consequences, you are kidding yourself. And like I've said, through all my comments, I can't wait until this contract is up. First of all, it'll probably be null and void in the next week or so. At least it should be. If they can't provide the services, then the city has every right to cancel that contract and go somewhere else. And I hope they do. And I hope all these union members that are screaming. And listen, nothing irritates me more than when unions play class warfare. Well, this guy has a lot of cars. And he's not, and he's got this and he's got that. And we got nothing. And 3 generations of his family. So what do you think you're entitled to? This is America. His family, for those 3 generations, have poured their heart, sweat, blood, and tears into that business to build it to what it is today. And this is where me and unions have disconnect. And I've always said it. If unions ever try to get into my business, I will close the damn thing down first. Because the problem I have with unions is that, one, no one is going to tell me how to run my business. If his family and that family built the business over generations, who the hell is the union to tell me what I am going to do? Who are you to tell me how to run my business and what I'm going to pay my people? And these union people are sitting there going, well, we're not going to do it until we get what we want. Go find another job. If you're not happy, if you think New Haven is paying $5 more per hour, go down there and fill out an application. Go for it. There are bus drive shortages all over this state. You could go anywhere you want at this point. But no. You rather sit here and hold our children and our parents hostage because you and the company can't get your heads out of your asses and work together to a compromise. But you want parents to call the bus company and support you, but at the same breath, you just told every parent to go fuck off. Where am I wrong? The parents that are working 2-3 jobs to keep food on the table. This wasn't known since June. This was known since May. The first contract negotiation started in May. This is absolute craziness to me. And at the end of the day, our children are the only ones that get hurt by this. And for the bus union to use our children as hostages and as pawns in their little game, and then try to turn around at the other side of their mouth saying, we love the kids. We want to drive the kids to school. Well, then get your asses back to work and get back to the negotiating table. Both sides. Because I'm not keeping the business side as no blame. There's plenty of blame to go around here. Now, I get it from the business perspective. Listen, I said it myself. No one's going to come in here and tell me how to run my business. So I understand exactly what he's feeling. And remember, Meriden is the only district in New Britain Transportation that is union. All of their other locations are not union. So does New Britain Transportation bring those buses into Meriden? We haven't heard anything from them either. New Britain Transportation should be saying to the parents of Meriden, hey, I understand this is what's happening. We have somewhat of a game plan. Here's what we're going to try to do. But it has been crickets from everywhere. And there has to be consequences to that. The Board of Ed is saying nothing. Saying nothing. Mark Benigni just sent that letter out, which we haven't even finished yet. So let me finish that. Finally, this is the letter from Mark Benigni to all the parents on Parent Square today. Finally, we do not know whether the strike will continue after the holiday weekend on Tuesday and the days following. We will send Parent Square messages to all families as soon as we have any information. And then I love the end here. We value our partnership with parents and caregivers. No, you don't. No, you don't. You do not care about you do not value our partnership. If you did, you would have been communicating this with us a while ago. And not just a couple days, 21 hours before. If you valued our partnership with the parents, you would have come up with a game plan for this. Knowing that this could very well have happened. And we deeply regret that a dispute between the New Britain Transportation and the Teamsters have put at risk our ability to provide transportation tomorrow to our schools. We appreciate your cooperation in this matter, and we are doing all we can to properly restore reliable transportation for our friends and families, or for our students and families. What are you doing? What are you doing? You know, I sit there and I've said this, I don't know how many times I've been behind this microphone talking about the Board of Ed. What are you guys doing? You're not communicating with us for anything. You sweep shit under the rug? How anyone can have any confidence in this Board of Ed is beyond me. This is just another example of the incompetence of our city government, which is why we're here today talking about it, which is why I have to be here behind this friggin' microphone again to try to wake some friggin' people up. What are we doing? How did we allow this? How did we get to this point where our own government won't friggin' sit there and talk to us and tell us what's going on? Rob Kaczynski, the president of the friggin' Board of Ed, when asked by Channel 8 for a comment, anything, he didn't have to talk about the union and the transportation company. He should have said something to the parents. Parents, we got you. Parents, we're looking out for you. Instead, he declined to comment, stating that the contract is between the Teamsters and the bus company. Who cares about the union or the bus company? Talk to the parents. I know you don't like doing that. None of you Board of Ed people like doing that. The Board of Ed, city government, city council, they don't want to talk to the friggin' public. You know, we've seen Kevin out here every friggin' week on something stupid. Haven't heard a word from him. Haven't heard a word from our mayor on the subject. But remember, all these people care about you. All these people are looking out for you. They value our partnership. We value our partnership with parents and caregivers. Bullshit. That's all complete and utter bullshit. They don't value it. You'll do what you're told and that's it. Here's what go find your way around. Good luck. And you know what? If you can't make it to school, don't worry about it. We don't really want you there anyways. That's basically what they're saying. Yeah, you could make it up at a different time. It's embarrassing. Well, apparently, if you have special needs kids, to Mark Benigni, it's saying that there is no transportation issue. But like I stated before, I don't know if you were here, Dolores, is that I got a phone call from Tucker's teacher today, who is in the special needs program, and the bus is not coming for him tomorrow. So we will take him to school. But see, here is the issue I have. And I know most people aren't going to like to hear this. But a lot of the people that are listening to this podcast right now, you voted for this. You voted for it. All this incompetence, all this nonsense in City Hall and the Board of Ed, most of y'all voted for it. Now, I will sit there and say, I'm to blame. I am partially to blame. And I want to issue my fullest and sincere apology for voting some of these people in. So I do want to sit there and say I am sorry. But I also do say, and I've always been told my entire life, that when you make a mistake, it's, when you're tricked and duped once, shame on them. When you do it twice, shame on me. I will guarantee you I will not make the same mistake twice. This issue with the bus drivers needs to be rectified. And every single city leader should be blasting, not the bus company and not just the union, but both of them to get their shit together. And if they don't, over this weekend, come Monday, by the end of next week, there better be a new bus company here in Meriden. Or I am going to tell you, parents are going to flip out. There are a lot of parents right now scrambling to find transportation for their children. And again, the kids that need to be there the most are the ones that are going to be affected by this strike. And we've seen what COVID did to our students. This cannot go unanswered. Both on the contract level with the bus company and with those in city government. And luckily for us, November is rapidly approaching. Which brings us to our next subject. And I'm going to shred this piece of this letter, because that's all it's good for. That's all it's good for right there. Right to the friggin' shredder. This is what we pay Mark Benigni almost $250,000 for. Do you realize that? We pay the superintendent of our school almost $250,000 per year. And this is the kind of service we get. Just so you know. It's embarrassing. It's insulting. But, the good old boy network is in full effect. They feel they don't have to take responsibility for anything. And unfortunately, the Board of Ed has continued to just be a good old boys network. Everything that happens, we just hide it underneath the rug. Nah, never happened. Nothing to see here. Keep moving on. Remember, they still have not gone after those two employees that was stealing time, and one was stealing supplies, was ordering residential stuff and doing things on the side while he was at work. So he was doing side jobs at houses instead of working. They still gave both of those guys pensions. But that's our Board of Ed. And like I said, we're to blame for that. Because most of us here put those people in power. And I will not make that mistake again. Which brings me to, it's election year. And everyone's asking me, well, I guess the one question I get the most is, one, what do I think about all the candidates? And we'll go through each race. Because like I said, this will probably be the only time we do it. So we'll do it. We'll do it now. We'll go through each race. And then we'll talk about the wild card. And well, let's go through the races first. Well, no, I have to go to Kara Shriver for council at large. It has to be the funniest thing I've seen in a long time. It's also one of the greatest things I've seen at the same time. Now, for me, Kara, I know you're probably listening. You shouldn't have named it Kara Shriver for council at large. I have an issue with that. That's about the only issue I have. Did anyone ever watch the movie Brewster's Million? That is Kara Shriver. It is the Brewster's Million candidate. If anyone never watched the movie, it's with Richard Pryor. He inherits all this money. He has to spend it all. He has to spend $30 million in 30 days in order to get the grand prize of $300 million. And at the end, he has to he has to spend a ton of money. So he starts a fake campaign running for New York City mayor. And he named it None of the Above. That's what Kara Shriver should have named the campaign. None of the Above. That would have been a lot funnier to me. But Kara Shriver for city council at large is... Now, the crazy thing is, and again, I've said this to actually a lot of the candidates that I talk to. I love the platform. I love the platform. If no one has seen... now I got to bring it up. You guys got to make me do this. Oh, where is it? I hate I should have had this ready. I really wasn't gonna go this far into it, but I think it's okay. So the intro is no lies, no bullshit, no pandering, just a better community for all of us. If that's not the best tagline I've seen in a long time, absolutely love it. If I was going to run a campaign today, that is what I would put on my campaign. No lies, no BS, no pandering, just a better community for all of us. The people of this city need that. The problem is, and Kara, I hope you're listening. The problem is, the citizens of Meriden can't handle that. And that's the problem. Because I feel I try to do that. But I don't think the people can handle it. They don't want to know the truth. They don't want to sit there and be, having to worry about what is going on. They're just too busy out there trying to live their life and trying to support their family. And that's why when city government turns around and says they value our partnership, no, they don't. Because none of them understand what you're going through. So when the superintendent sends this out 21 hours before the strike, it shows me how out of touch he is. And how they are looking down from their ivory tower at all of us peasants and saying they don't, we'll get to them when we get to them. Because they don't understand the struggle. They don't understand or care about the struggle of the citizens, of the parents of these kids. That again, these parents are working 2 and 3 jobs just to keep the lights on. They don't understand that, nor do they care. And it's very obvious from how they have handled this entire situation. And which is why they all need to go. I always say, and I've said this many times before, sometimes you just got to burn the shit down to rebuild better. And maybe giving Democrats the Board of Education again is the way we have to do that. Because I personally cannot support any of them. Anyone that is an incumbent on the Board of Ed, I can't get behind. And I won't get behind. And I will vote against. I know, how crazy is that? I can't do it. At this point, I'd rather see the shit burn down. And let the Democrats sit there and burn it down. And hopefully we'll get some Republicans in there with a backbone and with some morals and some friggin' values and go ahead and do things the right way. Because I don't see it coming out of any of the Board of Ed. I just don't see it. And they've proven it over and over and over again. So I know Kara put together a little their endorsement list here. And I agree, Board of Ed, I can't vote for any of them. And listen, as people, I like some of them. I think Elmer, is a great guy. But again, has failed at protecting the citizens' money, protecting the parents' rights, keeping the parents informed. They've all failed on all of those. Every one of them. Robbie, Tony, and Albert. I can't vote for you. I know that's a lot. That's hard for a lot of people to think that that's how I feel. But it is. And I've said it for a while. I don't say things just to say them. It's how I feel. And I can't vote for someone who I feel doesn't have my values or doesn't have my best intentions at heart. Who's going to watch over our tax dollars. I just can't do it. Now, do we vote for the Democrats? Or do we just not vote at all? That's the question. That's the question. Do we just not vote for them? And they could just hope that they get enough support? Or do we go into full meltdown mode and literally just vote for everyone who's not an incumbent? Because it works the same way up on top, as we'll get into when it comes to the council and mayor. But as far as the Board of Ed, I have zero confidence in the Board of Ed. Zero. In fact, I have negative confidence in the Board of Education. Now we just got to wait to see what Riddle, Hernandez, and Scarlett are going to propose. If they're proposing CRB, critical race theory, no. If CRT is their platform, I can't vote for them either. Then I just got to leave it blank. But if they're for changing shit up, getting rid of Mark Benigni, changing the way we do things in the city as far as education, if they come up with a great platform, hell, I won't only vote for them, I'll probably give them money. If they could come up with a great plan, I want to hear it. Oh, and Miss Hayes, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to knock you out. So let's go up to the councils. We'll start with mayor. We'll start with the mayor position. Now, I lost that there. Hold on a second. I'm trying to see your comments and everything else while I am actually going here. And I took full responsibility for that. So I don't know, my son just jumped in on us, and he asked me, did you not have negative confidence last election? No. But again, and it's good that my son is now watching now, because this is a teachable moment. This is a teachable moment for everybody. Admitting your mistakes and vowing not to repeat them. So that is all you can do, is learn from your mistakes. In life, in general. Just learn from mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. It's just learning from those mistakes and not repeating them. That's how you become successful. I've made a lot of mistakes throughout my life, even with my business. But every mistake I've made, I've learned from, and I've been able to build it better, which is why my business gets better and better, bigger and bigger. So it's important to learn from your mistakes and acknowledge your mistakes. There's nothing wrong with acknowledging mistakes. It's a good thing. Okay, so let's go to mayor. Kevin Scarpati versus Kurt Horrigan. Now, I was excited for Kurt. Well, even before he decided to run. Now, Kurt started as a placeholder. And if anyone remembers, Manny Santos was also a placeholder before deciding that he was going to run. So I'm hoping that that's on our side this year. But I couldn't think of a better person than Kurt Horrigan to run for mayor, other than myself. But my days of that are over. That's not me anymore. And plus, I found that I have a disdain for some Republicans that are in power. So I'm sure the MRTC would create too much friction to begin with. My disdain for some of those in power, because they don't give a shit about us. People think that I'm just Republican through and through, and I'll vote for any Republican. No, that's not me. And that's never been me. So I have no problem calling Republicans out. And I'll be the first one to sit there and say, well, I can't support one. But here with Kurt Horrigan, if anyone loved Guy Scaife, you're going to love Kurt Horrigan. The better thing about Kurt Horrigan is they can't fire him. The council can't fire him. Only you can. If you want the nonsense to be stopped and you want things to come out into the open and be transparent, Kurt Horrigan's your guy. Let's look at Kevin's record. You know, Kevin loves to turn around into me and say, oh, your temperament, Joe. You just come. Listen, my temperament hasn't cost this city hundreds of thousands of dollars. His has. Acting like a little child at the Daffodil Festival and kicking the Libertarian Party out from collecting signatures because they told him to pretty much screw off. So he threw his little temper tantrum, had him thrown out, got us sued. The Libertarian Party got like $40,000 for it. Corporate counsel when Manny got elected. $120,000, $130,000 it cost. Because he threw a temper tantrum. So I love when people turn and go, oh, your temperament's just too harsh for people. At least it's not costing them hundreds of thousands of dollars like yours is. Because you don't like being told no. Because you're an entitled, opportunist little brat. No. But my temperament. It always made me laugh. And when we look at, again, dispatch center, emergency dispatch center. Again, you see Kevin out there for all sorts of different things that really don't matter. But yeah, he's not out there in front of a camera yelling to the hilltop or yelling at the council or the city manager. What are we doing here? He just likes the position. He gets to be mayor. It's cool. It's hip. I'm a young guy. I'm mayor. And then he tries to flaunt it around like he matters to someone or to something in the city. I said this, again, many a time before. They use the council uses the mayor position to shield themselves from negativity. That's how the council uses. That's why the council back in the 70s turned around and went to that style of government. Because no matter what happens, everybody on all the social media platforms blames the mayor. And Kevin has accepted that role just so he can say, well, I'm mayor. Instead of holding those that are truly responsible accountable. That's why we need Kurt Horrigan. That's why he needs to get our vote. But Kurt Horrigan cannot do it by himself. Right now, the council is 7-5 or 8-4. We need to pick up one seat or 2 seats. Well, we need 2 seats, no matter where they come from. We need 2 seats. And then Kurt Horrigan as mayor. And what does that do? And this should give everybody hope, because it gives me hope. If Kurt Horrigan wins mayor, and then we pick up 2 seats, it turns it into at least 2 seats. It turns it into a 7-5 council with the Democrats holding a majority. But it gives the mayor a lot of power, because now they could veto things, and the Democrats don't have a supermajority to override him. So, voting for Kurt isn't the end-all, be-all. That is the main race we need to win, but we need 2 others. So let's continue down our list. Area 1, Sonia Jelks versus Isabel Rosa Kaiser. Now, if you're not new to this show, you know how much love me and Sonia Jelks have for each other. It's absolutely zero. Zero love. She is the worst thing that ever happened to this city. Even worse than Mike Rohde. She's even worse than Mike Rohde. And I think a lot of Democrats would love to see her go away. And I think if Isabel runs a good campaign, she could definitely win this race. Now remember, if you know the numbers behind this race, one second. If you look at the numbers of this race, it favors Isabel. So if you bring Isabel, listen, about 1,200 people vote in that race every single year. That's it. Only 1,000 people, 1,055 vote every single year. If running in an area that small, if you're willing to knock on doors, I take those 1,000 people and I knock on their door every other week. If half of them show up for you, you win that race. It's a very, very simple game plan for Area 1. It really is. It's really that simple. And if any race we desperately need to win on the council, Area 1 is it. If you get Sonia Jelks out of the picture, along with her NAACP buddies, I think everything opens up. I think even a lot of Democrats on the council would love to see her go. She has brought such a toxic environment to the council. It's disgusting. It's embarrassing. So I think there's going to be a lot of support for someone like Isabel in that race. So obviously I'm Isabel all the way. Then we have Area 2. And that is Tomasetti's old seat. She's not running this year. So Joe, I apologize if I screw up your name. Joe Scaramazzo? I know your son was our football kicker, was Maloney's football kicker. Because he had a great year last year. And then we have Dan Zabrowski. And listen, Dan Zabrowski is my favorite candidate out of everybody. And I'll tell you why. And I always praise Dan. Now, sometimes, I will admit, sometimes he lets his mouth get in front of him before he thinks about what he's about to say. Instead of thinking about it, he just says it. And sometimes that gets him in trouble. And as a council person, he's really going to have to fight to control that. But no one can sit there and argue with me that Dan Zabrowski is not the most dedicated citizen to this city and shows up at more meetings than any elected official does. Hands down. He is at more city meetings. He knows more about what's going on in this city than anybody else in the city. No one has dedicated more time and energy into fighting back in this city. And it is an absolute shame that he is not a city councilor yet. He came damn close. And with the redistricting, now remember, he used to be in Area 4. He's now in Area 2 because of the way they redistrict the lines. So Dan Zabrowski has a great shot at winning this race. So, and I hope he does. I really do. Because no one's more deserving of it. Joe, I'm sure you're a nice guy. And listen, I'm going to do interviews with anybody who wants to. They're not going to be live. They're not going to be live. I'll do some taped interviews. If they want to do them live, we could do a live. It's up to them. And I look forward to meeting Joe. I mean, from what I've seen on Facebook, and a very good family guy. Very involved in football and soccer. So I mean, no disrespect to him, and maybe he is a great candidate. Hopefully, we had that discussion. But it'd be hard to sell me on anyone over Dan Zabrowski. It would be very hard to sell me. But at the same time, it's not about me. This program has always been to bring the information to you, the public, and we're still going to do that. So any Democrat or Republican that wants to come on the show most certainly could come on the show. And of course, as with every Democrat we've had on the show, you're treated with the utmost respect. The only rule is no bullshit and no trying to blow smoke up people's asses. That's it. Just as long as you stick to facts and we speak to the topics, I will give you as much time that you need to say whatever you want to people. All for it. Because I think the more knowledge everybody has, the better. So, Joe, I do look forward to meeting you sometime. Then we have Area 3. And we have Crystal Blake and Mike, and I'm going to hijack his name. I apologize, Mike, but I've never met Mike. I've seen him at the nominating committee because I ended up going there. So I saw him get nominated, but I haven't had a conversation with him yet. And he lives in my area, and I still never had a conversation with him yet. It's been over almost a month, which I find odd. So, I guess it gives me some reservations on is he committed to it? Because, I am a big contributor to everybody's campaign that I endorse. I put my money where my mouth is, but I haven't heard anything from him. And like I said, he's in my district. But I know he's a police captain, which is a plus for me in some ways. But at the same time, I will say this. Crystal Blake, not that bad. Out of all the Democrats, Crystal Blake, one, has fought against Sonia Jelks, which always, puts a warm spot in my heart when someone goes against her, especially in her own party, because even she is sick and tired, I believe, of the social justice bullshit that's going on. But she also doesn't want to run again, which again tells me that if she gets elected, she's just going to put somebody else there. So right now, I would say at this given time, it's a toss-up for me. Because again, Mike hasn't shown his face around. No calls, no mailers, no stopping by the house. I mean, as a Republican, one who likes to give money to Republicans, I find it odd that he hasn't showed up at my doorstep yet. But you never know. Maybe he will. So we'll talk about Area 3 a little bit more as this race progresses, and we'll see what happens. Then we have Area 4. Christian Meisner and Mike Carabetta. Obviously, if we look at, a year and a half ago, Mike Carabetta lost it for me. I could never support Mike Carabetta. I don't know who Kristen Meisner is. I tried looking her up. It looks like she's in healthcare and she's like some kind of director or whatnot. But, as this is one of those races, when we talk about Kurt Horgan and him needing help, it's one of these races. It's like, do you get in bed with your enemies or not? Because listen, Mike Carabetta, no. I think Kara Shriver said it best when it came to Mike Carabetta. He talked a big game about all the wrongs in the city. And then once he got elected, he just wanted to get along. He just wants to be part of the in crowd. He's done nothing. And this, for me, in case nobody remembers this, people, I freaking remember it like it was yesterday. If no one could see what I was just holding up, a resolution declaring racism a public health crisis. Anybody remember that? No. Instantly lost my vote. Not only did he lose my vote, but he promised Republicans, oh, I'm not voting for that. I'm not voting for that. That's craziness. It's craziness. I'm not voting for that. And then votes for it. Him and Dan vote for it. At least Dan had the decency to turn around and say, listen, I fucked up. I didn't want to leave Mike hanging out there. At least he was honest about it. Mike has never been honest about this. Mike still, to this day, defends this vote. In case anyone forgot what this says, that our police officers are a leading cause of death of black people in America. A stat that has been rebooted thousands of times as not being accurate. It's not even close to true. But that's what's in this resolution. Basically calling our police department racist, loves to beat up prisoners, I guess, because we have a police brutality problem. All this kind of good stuff. Racism is the root cause of poverty and constricts economic mobility. No, it's not. But that's all in here, and there's a lot more to it, which I really don't want to get my blood pressure up too much higher today. No, Mike Arabetta is a no for me. A straight no. And I literally cannot tell anybody to vote for him. And if he tells one more person, one more voter, you don't understand, you just don't understand, no. I'm sorry, I can't do it. Can't do it. And that nothing's going to turn. This vote solidified that for me. Because LaRue Graham cried. Because he cried. Because LaRue Graham, after all these years, and all these years on the council, I can't let my son walk down the street. You're so full of shit. Stop it. Stop it. You have no idea what it's like. Stop it. Stop it. Nonsense. And if you can't let your son walk down the streets, it's because of policies that you created. There is not a single thing that a Democrat could blame a Republican for in this town, in this city. Every time a Democrat turns and goes, well, Republicans are doing this, Republicans are doing that. Just look at them, it's like, it's bullshit. Republicans cannot do anything in this city. They have zero power in this city. Everything that is going wrong in this city is because of their policies. Bottom line. But to help them, and I always say it, if you see them driving off the cliff, why the hell would you get in the car with them? And for the same reason why they all voted for giving the city manager an extension. You got to be crazy. Again, forget the DUI. Forget the DUI. Name me a positive thing the city manager has done in this city. Dispatch center is a friggin' mess. Fire department is over budget by over $1 million. You have the HR department obviously can't get out of their own way. You have a tax assessor who has been given free reign to sit there and bombard our friggin' taxpayers. She's allowed to do whatever she wants. Break rules, ethics violations, state law violations. How this city has not been sued time and time again over the revaluation is beyond me. And I'm on the Board of Assessment Appeals. I told everybody, you should file a class action lawsuit against the tax assessor. Because she broke at least 5 or 6 different state laws. And when I brought it to the ethics board, they were like, well, you would need 5 other people to sit there and submit that. That's what happens for them to look at it. I think there's only 3 people on the Board of Assessment. So you want me to have 2 other people that lie? Do you realize our Board of Ethics in the city of Meriden, the only people that could bring an ethics violation complaint to the ethics board is the mayor, a counselor, or 5 members of the public. So obviously a counselor and a mayor is 5 times more important than we are. It's unbelievable. And again, takes me back to what I was saying about before about accountability. Where was Kevin? Kevin talked a big game about going after the assessor. Why didn't he file an ethics complaint? I told him, and we had conversations on the phone about what she was doing and how that violated the law. Nothing came of it. So for Area 4, I got to go with the Democrat. No matter what. I can't sit there and support Mike Carabetta under any circumstances. So he was all talk, no action. And then he lied. So, no. Then we have at large. We have Mike Rohde, Chad Gardillo, and Sean McDonald and Elaine Cariotti. One of them's easy. 2 of them are easy for me. Michael Rohde is an absolute no. He is one of the biggest reasons why this city has been in decline since the 70s. He is one of the main reasons why. How he ever got reelected is beyond me. And then I'm for Elaine Cariotti. I think Elaine would bring a fresh perspective to City Hall, to the City Council. And then you have Chad Gardillo and Sean McDonald. And that one's a toss-up for me. Because I have my issues with Sean. I have my issues with Chad. But at the end of the day, I think what does it for me is that when Sean, for me, lost it on the nomination process. When someone tells me that this is what they're doing, and then an hour later switches it, and really has no backing to even defend it. No, Sean McDonald reminds me of Mike Carabetta. It's kind of like the same person in some ways, not in all ways. But as far as being flimsy and going, just being in with the in crowd, they want the title more than they actually want the job. That's what Sean does for me. That's how I see Sean. Sean just wants the title and say, look, I'm counselor. Chad is Chad. Chad, he says what he believes. He votes the way he says he's going to vote. You get what you get with Chad. So that's where it makes it tough for me, because I like that. I like someone who's not going to bullshit me. I say with Ned Lamont all the time. Listen, Ned Lamont told you what he was going to do. People like Barack Obama. Barack Obama told you what he was going to do. And then when given him the opportunity to do it, he did it. I could kind of respect that more. I could really respect that. Where with Sean, it'd be a wild card for me. It's like, what is he going to do depending on what mood he is in that day? That's how I look at it. So, that's a toss-up for him. We'll have to talk about that more as we go into the end of the campaign season. But Rohde's a hard no. Elaine's a hard yes. Chad and Sean, they're gonna battle that one out. But yeah, right now I would have to say 60-40 in Chad's favor at the moment. And that's everybody. And then we have City Clerk, which is Denise. It's not. The fact that Mike Cardona is even running is a joke to begin with. Mike Cardona is only running because Mike Cardona's last name. They're just trying to get Denise out any way they possibly can. Mike Cardona is in no way qualified to be a city clerk. At all. He has no experience there. He has absolutely no certifications for it. Denise has been there for over 30 years. Yeah, she knows how to run the system. Now, do I think customer service could be a little bit better? Yeah, I do. But that's in all of City Hall. I think customer service is horrible throughout City Hall. Hell, I can't even get my own cousin to give me a call back in City Hall. So, but again, we've allowed that. The people of Meriden have allowed that. And honestly, if Kara Shriver was actually running for city council at large, probably have my vote. It really would. I would have to say Elaine and Kara Shriver for city council at large would probably have my vote. So, because at least, again, obviously, Kara Shriver is a fake profile, first of all, if no one knew that. It's a fake profile. But if anyone came out with those stance, and again, I had this conversation earlier with Kara Shriver. Listen, candidates, I know it's a joke. I know it's not real. But go look at the Kara Shriver for Council at Large page and fucking study it. And take notes on it. Because there's a lot of great information there. A lot of great information that you can use. So I highly suggest you go and look at it and read through all of it. I have. Which is why I say, if it was a serious campaign, it would have my vote. But it is not. So therefore, it is what it is, my friends. Oh my God, it is almost 9:15 already. So, listen, guys, best of luck tomorrow. It's going to be a shit show. So I apologize ahead of time that our incompetent City Hall and Board of Education has put us in this position. I'm hoping that this is a swift strike. I'm anticipating it ending probably Tuesday, and they'll be back to work on Wednesday. Because I think the parents, you all should be up in arms, and you all should be contacting the Board of Ed, and now the bus company on both sides, and saying, get your shit together before we throw you out of here. And for all those union members that are sitting there saying, well, we're going to do it until we get, listen, he's not losing any cars. Let me just break this down for you. So for all you union guys that are on the freaking social media talking about all the nice cars he has and the nice houses he has, listen, his family deserves it. His family has built a business to do that, to be able to do that. And you are not entitled to it. And you're not entitled to the same status that he is just because you drive a freaking bus. I hate to break that news to you, but that is straight talk right now. Do your job, get back to work, earn a paycheck for your family so that the parents of the city of Meriden could go back to work and earn paychecks for their families. Or else the union's going to find themselves out on their ass. The owner of the company still going to be making his millions every year. Still have his cars, still have his houses, and still have 4 other companies that are non-union that are working just fine. He may even be willing to give up Meriden and say, good luck to you all. And then where are you going to be? Out on your ass with no paycheck in the unemployment line. So just think about that before you start playing this class warfare game. But until next time, and I don't know when next time will be. Like I said, we did this tonight because we needed to get it out of the way. We had elections in full swing People want to know what my opinion on all the candidates were. You got them? I think we'll do a show maybe in a month from now. And we'll go through the list again and see if anything has changed. Listen, things could change. Depending on as they start saying, now listen, Democrats are going to run their same race. They're going to pull a Joe Biden. They always do. Say nothing because you don't need to say anything. Hopefully the D gets you over to the finish line. So they just say nothing. Make Republicans talk until they say something that is wrong, and then we can harp on them. That's their game plan every year. So Republicans, stay frosty. Make sure you're aware of what you're doing and what you're saying. Because they will come after you for any little thing. Emily is my biggest fan, so therefore Emily will get all my support on anything she needs. And it was my absolute pleasure to donate to her little campaign there, and I will do so again. But so we'll do a show maybe in a month. We'll do a revamp. We'll see where we're at with all the races, and we'll go from there. But until then, guys, I tell you what, it's been an absolute pleasure. I can't say I love the process anymore. Like I said, we've talked about this during the last show. I actually enjoy spending a lot more time with my family and friends and stuff. And, you know, politics doesn't do it for me anymore. It really doesn't. And yes, and my favorite thing to do is make money. And it is like my drug. The more money I make. So, but again, the more money I make, the more money I can donate to other to groups around the city. And I try to. I try to make sure I support as many organizations as I can within reason. So, and again, one of them would be Emily and her dance group, which I think is phenomenal. And best of luck to her on it. But until next time, guys, as always, I love each and every one of you. I wish you the best. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate mail now when this show ends. I'm sure that Republicans are going to be like, what the fuck, Joe? What are you doing? Why are you going against us? Listen, it is who it is. You know, I didn't create you. You created yourself. I'm just telling you how I see it. It's straight talk. Listen, I'm a Republican, I'm a conservative. But to think that I have loyalty to just a party, I have more loyalty to the people of this city and to the people of this state and the people of this country. I don't care about parties. Parties are useless. If it was up to me, we wouldn't have any parties and we would all just run and let the best win. You know, get your ideas out there. And you wouldn't have Democrat or Republican. You would just have at large, city council. Pick your six. That's how I would like to see it. But until that day happens, listen, this is what we got. But I'm not going to vote for a Republican who doesn't share my values and actually act like a Republican and have Republican values. I'm just not going to support that. Just to say that there's a Republican there. Because you know what? At the end of the day, you hurt our brand. I think the Republicans in the Board of Ed, I think people like Mike Carabetta, I think they hurt the Republican brand. And to me, that's unacceptable. So it is what it is. And like I said, I'll get the hate mail. I don't mind it. I don't really give a shit. But it is what it is. But until next time, guys, I love you. God bless you. And of course, as always, God bless this amazing country of ours. It gives us the ability to sit here and do this and talk politics and talk shop and about anything else we want. So we might as well enjoy it while we still have it. So until then, until next time, guys, I love you. I will talk to you all later.
And the million faces formed together, made for elevation. And the soldier won't surrender. Faith is like a fire that never burns to embers. The voice of the unheard. Love is the answer.
I gotta speak it, believe it, that's how I feel inside.
now you are